Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot and to another live episode. We're going to do live TA in this session for around an hour or so. I invite usually my elite members to make the choice of the coins and the symbols that we review first during the stream. But once we get completed with the full list, which I have here on the right hand side, I'm going to straight jump into the comments. Basically, leave there whichever asset you want me to do review or whichever question you have, and I'm gonna go in the order of the latest one goes first. So make sure that you keep your question always being the latest one or the coin that you want me to review to get a chance. Now, if you want to join as an elite member and secure TA on what you want, of course, you need to join as an elite member. Thanks so much, and get started with the first asset, which is going to have to do with metals. I noticed that there is a strong interest in metals. There's no surprise. Is the things that are doing well, at least up until 1 month ago, everything was going incredible. There's a lot of back holders at the moment on silver, so definitely there's also interest into looking on that as well. I'm going to cover a few more metals, not just silver, so stick around, and some interesting ratios on the metals as well. Then I'm going to jump into some stocks that the elites have requested, and into some high market cap as well, cryptocurrencies that are coming next. But make sure that yours are in the comments. That really helps with the algorithm. I'm going to start in here with silver. Let's have a look and appreciate the intensity of this parabolic move, right? You have in the red the top band of the Bollinger Band on the monthly, and you can see that despite the fact that we have had a huge ugly rejection in there, we are still pretty much around the top band, and we could say we are closer to that band than what we are from the mean, which is currently trading at $50, and the lower band that is at $20, which is crazy, right? We're trading at 80 and we have one of the bands at 20. When it comes to gold, there's some pretty significant differences in terms of not just the magnitude, but also in terms of the correction that we have had so far. If we compare the correction of silver versus gold, that should tell us a lot about what could potentially come next. And just as a spoiler, I think there is still a chance of a higher high on gold, whereas on silver, I'm a little bit more leaned towards uncertainty from that end, and I'm going to show you in the patterns why I think like that. Let me zoom out on the weekly first, and let's have a look at the correction. What has silver achieved right after? Well, let's stick to the daily for now. So we got the correction from $121 all the way to 64, and that bounced to a high of 92. And if you use a Fibonacci retracement in here, you can tell that it jumps from 0 and it almost hits 0.5. Okay, you know that I love getting into the golden pocket for getting my hopes of producing some sort of V recovery or additional upside, right? You can tell in here when there were corrections, eventually you get to the level of the golden pocket and then you resume. In here as well, you reach the golden pocket and you resume. So the question is, did this one manage to get into the golden pocket? No. You can tell that so far it hasn't, and it actually on the daily, it has been putting lower highs. There is a triangle, there is a squeeze there is a support of the past month low that is roughly $71. That's the level that currently we are defending in there. But it hasn't had such a follow through compared to gold. When it comes to gold, it retraced from 5.6 into 4.4. It defended the previous swing high, so we didn't even come close to that one, just the week, but the closes are pretty far, right? So the lowest close is at 465, and the highest swing in there is 4544. So there is a gap between those two things. And why is that important? Because we do not have that on silver, right? So you have that swing that closes at 81 and we are trading at 77. So it's like if gold right now was trading at 4.5, the magnitude and the severity of the correction on silver versus what gold is achieving in here, which is also inside the golden pocket. And that is at the very least, is promising for continuation for gold. Now, if gold continues, we might see something coming in from silver, following what gold can do, right? It's like if Bitcoin puts a new all-time high, then Ethereum can also follow through and maybe do something too. That's usually kind of the relation I use, but it doesn't need to be like that. So for silver, I guess most people are now deep in pain. Many people bought this parabolic side outside the monthly Bollinger Band. I don't know why you will do that without any risk management, but if you did, you are deep in the red in pain now. I think I was on an account in a broker that has social features. I'm not going to promote it, but it was saying they were full of comments around the silver asset and so many people showing their unrealized losses at the moment and almost everybody showing, oh, I'm 10K down, I'm 5K down. And some dude was saying, oh, well, I was trading just with $100 and I was feeling depressed because, I'm at $40 down. But now seeing your other losers, I feel better. And if we are in that stage, with silver, it could mean that any move into the golden pocket could be sold out just because of the severity and the pain that they're seeing here. You can tell that the lower lows means that people are trying to get out, expecting this to break down. And it's forming in here a pattern that is pretty much topping pattern, right? So almost like a head and shoulder right there with the neckline at 70. Whereas in here, so far, I don't see a head and shoulder. I just see, a gap between the previous swing high, golden pocket, and everything, and higher lows, and we got higher highs as well. So very different nature. I think the play in here was a rotation into gold, probably. I wish I say that. I didn't say it, unfortunately. I'm also gonna. And let me know if you have any specific questions. This is a live stream, so I'm happy not to just be parroting the full stream. If you have any specific questions about gold and silver, I guess most people want to know if we're going to put a new high. And I guess I'm telling you that the probabilities is that gold can do a little bit more around here, maybe do a double top or a slightly high with a bearish divergence. I was going to go to a higher time frames. What am I doing? So another thing that is important, for example, on gold, you can tell that the close on the monthly last month, this was a massive wick. So that's ugly, right? But this month potentially is closing with a higher high at over $5,000. That is promising, right? It's a green candle. There is no red candle on the monthly. Fantastic. That could have a follow through. So if we take now the 5.6, then we could, go into liquidity at 6.6. Who knows? Whereas on silver, we got this huge wick into 122 that closed at 85. And this month we are closing in the red with an indecision candle, which could mean that we still need to wipe a little bit of the liquidity below with those fair value gaps on the monthly. Let me see the fair value gaps in here on gold. They are pretty distant at 3.8 to 3.4 because the acceleration happened quite a long time ago. So maybe we can reserve this for the bear market, whereas silver might have some things to do in here. Notice that half of it is already taken. There's just half left, by the way. Yeah. Golden pocket not achieved yet. No green candle. And that's a little bit disappointing from those two metals. Let's go a little bit into copper, which was the other asset I was going to cover. In Crystal Gains in the other channel, the one I cover general markets, I've been keen to see a rally of copper outside in here, and I've been for the full month expecting to see a rally in that direction. We had a rally 10%, but it got sold off and we're back inside the channel. This is a monthly or weekly channel if you want, and I was expecting to see copper eventually to start outperforming gold, which leads me to the ratio that one of my Patreon members was reminding me to have a look, which is gold against copper. Extremely important, not just for the metals itself, but for the full stupid economy, macro economy, and everywhere. And obviously Bitcoin, I'm just putting Bitcoin here, which is cute, but really these patterns that I'm showing you here are telling you whether the economy is expanding and there is production going on and they're building things, or if you are just running into the hills, scared and trying to accumulate as much gold as possible because there is a massive disaster incoming. Two different extremes, right? And this oscillator tells you whether we are in one or in the other one from the point of view of the Z-score, which is an indicator that tells you how many deviations away we are from the mean. 1, 2, 3, could be more, but in here I'm tracking up until 2, and you can tell that what I'm tracking is, I didn't tell you, but I'm tracking basically gold against copper. So gold on top of copper, and I'm focusing on that ratio because typically Bitcoin tops in the cycle once copper is performing massively well. So it's smashing the ratio there, right? So it's the denominator there, or whatever it's called in English, el denominador in Spanish. And if that is outperforming, it smashes this into the lower end. And if I say something in the other way around, it might be the case, but I hope it's not. And I'm also using the cyclic RSI, which is another free indicator. So the confluence of those two have typically coincide with the bull cycle. And this cycle, we never had that. And also risk on assets are supposed to track that as well. And we have stayed there for double the time as previous cycles on the top end. And the top end coincides with bear markets. So all this full bull cycle on Bitcoin rally, and the ratio has stayed in the area of the bear market. So I'm really going crazy with the idea of what can happen if the ratio of copper versus gold lands there. That is the $1 million question. The answer in the previous 4 times is Bitcoin rally. You can see Bitcoin rally, Bitcoin rally, Bitcoin rally, and Bitcoin rally. But Bitcoin has been rallying all this time that we are supposed to be in a bear market. So is this the bear market from that point of view? And we are about to enter a bull market? That's really confusing. It's upside down, really. Let me know what you think about that. I mean, I don't have all the answers, and I don't know who told you I do, but I hope it's just your idea, because that's easier to get rid of. I don't have the answers. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's pretty interesting to see that. And my take is that we are about to see a correction. And when this starts landing in there, we're going to be deep in the correction and we're going to start the cycle together with this. But that means that this cycle would skip a moment where we visit the low end of that thing and we confirm that we are in the bull cycle. Weird. First time that happens. And that could explain a lot of things why this cycle is so weird. Maybe in the future we're going to understand it better. Definitely we will. Let's go with the next asset, and we're gonna jump into, I think I've got a couple of stocks before we go into crypto. So the crypto boys out there, just bear with me. Let me see the comments. There's plenty of comments and people asking. Remember, guys, if you put an asset and it's not an obvious one what it is, please write down it's a stock. This is a symbol on TradingView. That will really help. Or describe it so I can find it easy, because sometimes I see your request and then I fail to do it, not because I don't want to, because I cannot find it, and which is ridiculous. Let's go with the first asset, and I'm gonna do it in which chart? I'm gonna do it on this chart. This should be fine. On the weekly, we're gonna do, you won't believe me, what we're gonna review is Royce, and I'm hoping I'm writing it correcting. Oh my god, I'm in crypto. What am I doing? I need to be here. I don't know how to type it. That's funny. I'm gonna do it with the OTC. This is the PLC. That's correct. Perfect. And you're gonna be jealous in here. If you're a crypto person and you look at this, you're gonna think that I'm showing you a meme coin pumping in the past 1 hour. No, this is the symbol is RYCEY, and it's almost about to hit the previous all-time high. It's at $18. The previous all-time high was around $21, and it's been pretty much up only for 1,100 days, which is crazy on a $2.5 billion asset. And on the weekly, which is what I'm showing you, from around $6, we already enter in an area of bearish divergences. You can tell there that the RSI is constantly collapsing. And I want to see in here, for example, on this rally, which is the one I will compare with that one, in terms of magnitude and length, you can tell that around $8 already, we started with a channel down. That caused this rolling over, which ended up being a liquidity hunt at $8, and then it resumed to the upside, putting, you know, these two tops at RSIs of 76. We have now peaked at 93, and we peak around March in 2024. That did not stop anything, and indeed we are still in a channel down, which could repeat the story. We could find at some point a correction in a liquidity hunt. Well, we already have one here at $13, and I'm gonna have to zoom out even further away and into the monthly. There's something very revealing in here, and let's focus on these waves, wave 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's try, you know, together, we are live, right? Let's try together to understand what is kind of the modus operandi of the momentum around here. Not because we're going to be able to fully time a top or anything, but let's see what happened in the past. And we can tell that this has a breakdown there, then there's a layer 2. What really starts causing some correction in this asset is to do with a monthly bearish divergence. So you got one there that topped that one. This one was a fake top, but this was already a move of 18% to the downside. So, you know, if you trade properly with risk management and you trail it, you shouldn't worry if you close there and then somehow you re-enter on hidden bullish divergence. That one there, that top was precisely spot by that. Let's say if we connect these two pivots, because first there was a breakdown, but let's use that as a pivot. So the breakdown occurs on February 14 there, and I'm gonna skip this one. Well, let me leave just the RSI there, just for tracking. But what happens around here? So this was definitely the most aggressive pump that Rolls-Royce has had ever, but already on the monthly, it kind of put a breakdown like that one. Unfortunately, we don't have in the way any pivot, so it could mean that this needs to be placed like that, and then we still have a higher high. But potentially in here, we are due for an event like this one, right? A bearish divergence. Notice that we haven't had a single bearish divergence in the full rally, just the hidden bearish right there, but not a regular one. So if this pushes back up, which is already putting new highs relative to this high there, and it doesn't manage to take the 97, which is a huge challenge. By the way, going back into 97 means that the price goes parabolic. Literally repeating a 97 means price is We are trading a stupid 18 now. Imagine, 83. So from 83, sorry, I'm getting confused. 18 price, 83 RSI. What's wrong? I think this coffee is decaf or something. If we go back to 97, that takes the price to 65, which basically represents a move on Rolls-Royce of 273%. So I am definitely not going to bet on that sort of move, and I'm more leaning towards a bearish divergence incoming on the monthly on Rolls-Royce, which could mean that then we are due for some correction, right? First correction in here is 73%. This correction there is 64. This correction is huge, 93. So careful with the corrections on Rolls-Royce because they are very significant as well. So that's my view on the monthly. I hope you enjoy Rolls-Royce. Nothing to do with crypto, but it doesn't need to be. Let's go now with NVO stock, and that is the last one from my elite members. And then we're gonna go with crypto. Just a little bit of patience. I mean, whatever you learn from the TA I'm doing, it's totally applicable to any asset. It doesn't need to be crypto. Of course, crypto is more risky, it's more volatile and stuff like that, but still the principles are the same across all timeframes and across all the assets. And in here, I was reviewing this. We have a channel app which continues to expand, put new highs, higher lows and higher highs. Channel support right there. We're close to that support. Price is at support, horizontal support this time. And, you know, it's an area of advantage if you're looking for entries because we are at support on the weekly. Let's have a look at the monthly. What's going on in here? There should be a breakout on the monthly, but we are at the same price before the breakout, but the channel is pointing up on the monthly too. Hopefully we're going to defend that. So if you use stop loss, right, and you enter right at support at 48, and you have a risk below these lows of 42, so you size your position so that that stop loss doesn't hit you too hard. You are playing basically that support is going to hold, that you might put another wick around here and then resume to the upside. If you're wrong, you go to the previous trading range of the 20s or somewhere in the middle. There's a huge depression in between. So that's kind of the play. A good risk to reward on the monthly and on the weekly at support right there for NVO. If you're curious what this is health, technology, pharmaceuticals. So there is that. There's been a huge sell, and we are trapped in the same trading range where we were in 2021. And around the bear market in 2022, once it got confirmed, the bear market, that rallied massively. So if we enter on bear market in general assets, potentially these pharmaceuticals might start some upside there. And I'm hoping that this elite member is going to ask me later so we can confirm that the call was right. It can be right in two senses, right? It can break down and go into the 26. And I suspect that will happen if we continue with a strong rally on the S&P and Nasdaq, because this seems to like the bear market. If we enter in bear market, this can act as an edge potentially. If I'm reading this correctly, this could be a hedge against the bear market on the S&P, and then in which case that could pump to the upside. Do you like that? It sounds entertaining, okay? But you need to protect yourself. So you still need a stop loss there, and I can still be absolutely dead wrong, okay? I'm not looking into the fundamentals. I'm not confirming those facts. I'm just speculating in here that that could be the case. Let's go now with crypto. And I didn't cover targets or anything. I don't think I have a specific target. Maybe the first target will be the $80 if I'm right to the upside and we start seeing the general markets correcting further. Let's go with crypto. And the first one that got more votes from my elite members is ASTER, which I haven't done TA on ASTER in a long time. And let me have a very quick look at the comments. Let's all not forget the like button. Thanks so much. had a chance to hop in. Sold, people are asking for sold. Many people asking for sold. Liquidity over the past 5 years, maybe because all three commodities expanded. This says the economy is ripping then. I wouldn't say that. The economy, I mean, theoretically speaking, if gold is rallying, economy is not supposed to be ripping. My theory is that the S&P, well, my view is that the S&P and the assets like Nasdaq are rallying just because the debasement of the currencies, but not necessarily because the economy is that great. And the fact that people are putting the money in gold is because they are trying to run through a safe haven, and that also tells you what's going on. Copper tends to rally when the economy is good because it's needed for production to do things with copper, whereas gold is to store it somewhere safe, right? So they are completely antagonistic. They are in completely the opposite spectrum of how you view the economy. On ASTER, yeah, we have had a very strong downtrend in here, but we are starting to see something shifting. And I'm on the daily time frame. Let me see. So momentum has been respecting these highs. 1, 2, 3 from that high there. And it broke out. Now it's coming down from reaching already 61, which is even higher to that level. So there was an enormous amount of momentum to get out in here. And hopefully that is not just because it went after the liquidity. Notice that it's hitting the peak of volume in the volume profile across the full range in ASTER. So that must be, a tough level. It's been trading that range the most. The second biggest is $1, and this one is 0.7. And yeah, there's been a breakout in here, definitely, but it's not a straight line. It's kind of like a curve. I don't think I have a curve. Well, anyways, let's not waste time on that. And this is a level of support resistance that is significant to monitor. This is the first line of defense, the 70 cents, that hopefully we can sustain to be able to expand into next levels of support and resistance. That order block there calls my attention. It used to be support. It created a head and shoulder. It broke down aggressively into 70. So if this holds there, there's an opportunity to go and chase the 93 cents liquidity right there. Let's go into liquidity, although I already can see with my X-ray eyes where is the liquidity. That's just, it's always in the same place. These liquidity websites are not that clever. They always do the same thing. You got 0.83, you got $1 heavy and 1.15 on the lower end on the past 3 months, which is quite restricted what they allow you to see. There's not that much. We just probably took everything up until 40 cents. So there must be just some peanuts in here, and there must be a lot to take there. But it's going to need Bitcoin to behave, obviously. If we start breaking below and we no longer subscribe to being pinned to the 67 point of control trading range, and we start looking for the lower next one in the ladder down, which is 44 followed by 27, forget about the setups. It's just hopium. But if we stick around and Bitcoin starts moving into 70s, maybe this guy is going to have a revenge and take that liquidity at some point next 1 or 2 months. ASTER, done. Let's go with the next one, which so many people are asking for, CRV. Let's go with that one. Remember that I will take the requests from the comments. The latest comment is the one that is going to be reviewed, but I still have a few more coins from the elite members to go. So CRV is printing tons of signals in there. I'm going to tell you which signals are those just in a moment. This should be from the delta. Or is it from that? I'm confused. What is giving this signal? The PNR. And this PNR is connected to the cross-fee ratio. Okay, so that is volatility. And this is on the daily. So on the daily, at support right here, we're getting the volatility to peak. You can tell where CRV volatility has peaked in the past to the downside. So in here, there, this week, there, that week, that is good, that is good, that is good, that is good. That is okay-ish because it has some upside, but on candle close, you start from 56. That is good. That is a move of 13%. This gives 23%. And this has triggered, that has triggered. There's 4 of them that have triggered, and none of them have given anything yet. Let's go to the weekly, and let's see if on the weekly we got any signal. It takes a while. Ooh, no signals, but we are right there at support. We talked about that last week. I got the same request last week asking for this, and same as Bitcoin that is defending the 67. This guy is for 3 weeks defending it and doing kind of the same thing, closing each weekly candle lower and lower against the support of 23 cents. Chart looks horrible, but we are right at support. If this ranges across this into 128, that is fantastic. That is a move of 400%. I would expect though lower highs. You got already lower highs into here, so worth tracking that. We got a breakout potentially incoming. We are smashed against the lowest RSI ever at 31. It could go lower, but you are in a privileged area there. Just like if you were there, or if you were there, or if you were, you might be here, and then you go lower there, but then you can average down. But you are certainly at an area of privilege. Notice this already faked. It faked once, and it could fake twice, but every time you fake, you reduce the chances of faking again. So we might look for another range down. Let's look if we can identify a lower range. We don't have anything. We just have wicks into 17. So that is something to track. Probably people are seeing that. This comes from Binance. So it hit 18 cents twice on the 5th of August and in October. Not yet now. So, you know, if you lose that level, that is a downside of how much? 25%. I don't think it's that big of a deal. There could be an option there to take a long from below those 2 weeks just to grab the liquidity that is left at 17. That's interesting as well to me. Let's look at liquidity on CRV. I'm betting that it is all to the upside. People are asking for Jupiter. I wonder if Savit is from a Paul Barron channel, because they were fans of Jupiter. 0.3 followed by 0.37, and then there's another peak at 47 when this starts putting a double top and then it collapses. Takes liquidity partially, and it left liquidity that spans from November. So 46 is around here. So that is not as impressive as the 400 move, or even hitting the 200% upside and putting still a lower low against that downward sloping resistance. But getting into 46 basically puts you at 100% profit. Maybe that resistance there at 42, that's a 76. And if from support you move here just a 40 against a potential 25 plus downside, so that is a little bit less convenient. So I will consider reducing the size in here, increasing it below 17, average down in that way, and then trying to target the upper levels and see if we can break out from the RSI weekly. That RSI weekly, once you are in a position, you already build your position in the puke area, then when it comes back, you should have some more decent upside. But you know, when I mean decent relative to being in a bear market. Okay, I'm not talking about the most bullish bull cycle performance of CRV. You need to adjust your expectations. Right, we did ASTER, we did CRV. We're gonna do 4 more coins. Probably you wanna see these next ones. This is gonna be Solana on the weekly. Nothing major. If you watch my previous stream, it's going to be pretty much the same. What I'm saying is putting lows similar to Bitcoin. It bounced from that 67. I missed my entry. Longs continue to go away. Socials are very, very deflated. So it's an area of opportunity. If we go back to 67, I'm probably going to start building a position on Solana. Technical targets point to even $5. Don't think we're going to get that low this cycle because, you know, the RSI is already at an all-time low of 28. If it goes slightly lower in the next weeks, that's going to take down the all-time low of the RSI weekly. Monthly, it's also at an all-time low of 41. Let me see levels of support and resistance. Horizontal is at 61. Yeah, I'm gonna build a position somewhere there. There's been similar to CRV. There was a fake out there, so the line now needs to be placed here, and we need to start, instead of monitoring that, we need to start monitoring it here. That's kind of the way it goes. We were talking about in here a bounce. We just had a bounce into the first resistance at 150, and then we puke. So, you know, be prepared for another area of accumulation around here, potential bounce, and then, you know, use trailing stop, because that might be the one that succeeds into further upside, or it might be squash and rug pull just like this one did after only giving out a 23% upside in the area of previous accumulation. Let's go into liquidity on Solana. On Binance. Yeah, so the breakout was disappointing on the daily. It puked around here. It hit 20. And that is probably one of the lowest RSI, with the exception of around here. That is in January 2022, bear market. Yeah, because this is trading different. It doesn't go that back in time. Price bottom at $9, but the RSI bottom at 87. It was a year with a bullish divergence. Capitulation, so that's the capitulation with FTX. If we get another bullish divergence, that means that after hitting 19, well, there's still way to go lower, I think, in the RSI here. Next levels of liquidity are 60 and between 60 and 66. So that if we go back into that support, that will be an area for me, and I need to really, after the stream, put some orders somewhere in the exchange or some reminders with some notifications. I think the second one is the best option. To the upside, there's still tons of liquidity to have some relief rally, particularly into 114 or all the previous support, right? We were holding those levels of support. Let me see again the weekly. Support was around 126, got lost there. So revenge into 127 is possible. And how much do we take at 127? Not that much. Actually, the big liquidity is at 166. Can we in the bear market go to 166? Possible, but we need the dead cat bounce of Bitcoin from the current range. If we go straight to 44 in a few days, it won't happen. If we start moving into 75 or 80 with Bitcoin, then we have a chance for Solana to reach those levels and to punish those shorts. Otherwise, they're going to get away with shorting for longer. Let's go with Ethereum now. Ethereum. Yeah, that's the fake out of Ethereum. I'm also tracking it. Lower lows in here. RSI still not reaching the lows. I'm expecting it to be at the very least at 23, 24. This trend line, I'm also tracking it. That's an opportunity around 17. I already entered around those levels, averaging down my $3,800. And hopefully we don't go that low, but you know, we are already at the very lows on Ethereum in terms of longs. So I'm not sure Ethereum is really going to lose this level immediately, but it could go lower. We have a next area of point of control at 1200, around that area. And that could be the area of next pain if Bitcoin also moves one level down. If Bitcoin goes into 44, then 1100 is on the table. If Bitcoin goes to 27, Ethereum can go into the sub 1000. I'm not gonna say 400 because last time we went into 1000. So seeing Ethereum sub 900 will be really something that I'm not expecting to see. Let's go into Ethereum in terms of liquidity. And people are asking for SUI and Algo. Just keep rolling the requests. I still have 2 more coins to go from elite members, and then we jump into your request. I know it's been a lot of coins from elite members, but I've been giving away elite subscriptions for free. In reality, any video that gets 400 likes, I'm gonna give 1 subscription 1 year for free. So make sure that you hit the like. That will really help me and help you as well. So on Ethereum liquidation levels, we got 16, 14. Then we have those levels in here. Yeah, I think I cover everything. Yeah, let's jump into the next one. I think there's not much more to say. I'm going to just repeat what I said last week, and I don't want to sound like a parrot, although I am one. That doesn't mean I need to over-exercise my attributes. Let's go with more. Oh, I have no idea what this is, but one of my elite members requested that. And we're going to cover it on the weekly time frame. It looks very similar to ASTER chart. I wonder why. And this has a small breakout after a double bottom on the weekly. And it's approaching that resistance at 1.7. Longs have been entering quietly in this accumulation area. So what this says on the weekly is that possibly we get a chance to go into the actual price resistance and then move up. Watch out with the $2 point of control of the full range, because that puts back the coin into bullish mode. But going into it and getting rejected is kind of what should be the most likely scenario in a bear market. If we manage to get lucky to get there and to follow through with that momentum that is currently coming into Morpho. What the hell is Morpho? I never heard about that. You never know what you're going to be doing TA to. And let's look at the liquidity, which is currently being taken, and it kind of sharply ends at 1.6. So that is a concern in here, because it has already gone into 1.5 and is getting sold there because probably it's reacting to the liquidations as well. But there is still left over. Not that we have to take it all at once. Maybe we get a correction, a pullback, and then we try again into 1.6. That could be one option. Unfortunately, I cannot see what's beyond that level, because this level is $2, and I would love to see liquidations at $2 track from the time we were at $2, but this only tracks 3 months. So I won't be able to see your... It's okay, that is a significant resistance. Look at that. I just saw it. Resistance, support, lost with a big candle, probably huge volume. And now we are approaching it. So be aware of 167. That's a scary level. That is a confluence of downward sloping resistance and horizontal resistance, and probably liquidity there as well. Let's see if this momentum is going to manage to smash that so we can get into the $2 point of control. Next coin and last one from elite members is Hype, which in 2 weeks ago managed to get to $38 and now is threatening to lose the support of 28. Why 28 is support? Okay, because of that past, because of these levels, resistance, recent support last week, this week being challenged. Full point of control is at 25. Next level of support is 22. Longs are, getting exposure here, but nothing that looks like before. There's this breakout. And we did TA last time, and I left this line speculating that we're going to come down and we're going to have a cool down after this impulsive move. We're kind of doing similar to that. I don't know, watch my video when I did this. I'm speculating because I don't have that good memory that I did that. Ideally, you want to defend this 28 or wick into that and then close the week back above 28 for continuation. If you close within this trading range there, you get the risk of being attracted back into 22. Can that end the rally? If we go back to 22, possibly the RSI is going to end up in a double bottom at 35. We are seeing that across the range happening. I'm just putting the patch before the wound. So if this loses the 28, it gets into 35. And that level in the price is, whoa. Why did I do 35? Because I'm speculating of the double bottom, but double bottom is really painful. It sends the price to 17. That will put a bullish divergence at 17 support, which was previous resistance there. But I think it's too deep, possibly somewhere in the middle between that and where we are, finding support. And that will bring still some sort of bullish divergence, because we could form a double bottom with the price at 22 and the RSI stopping at around 40, and that's already a bullish divergence. Less dramatic than the initial one that I was suggesting. Yeah, let's defend 28. That's the biggest takeaway. Otherwise, we get into gray area at 22, where we still have some chances of continuing, but slimmer than where we are currently, if we defend that. And let's go back into hype liquidations. I ran out of coffee. I should have made 2 coffees. 26. In here we have a ton of liquidations at 1920. And 1920, right, is the beginning of that rally. So there is a chance that we go to that 1920 there. That will put the RSI at 38, and that still can carry on. That's a bullish divergence formation and still the beginning of a channel up. Next resistance in here is at 59. It's kind of hopium at this point, but just so you know, that points towards $40 for the next leg up. And it's a moving target. So if we go to 19, this line is also going to catch up and become a lower target, possibly 35 or 30. Right. I'm going to start taking requests. I think I cover everything. I'm going to look into the comments. Just let me cough first. Right, guys, so as I said, I'm gonna go from the bottom to the top. So the latest comment is always the one I'm gonna pick. If you already wrote your request, you can do it again now. The battle is on, and I'm gonna do a 20-minute TA with you guys because I'm sure that there's plenty of questions. 3 million vehicle repossessions in 2026, expected higher than 2009 financial crisis. S&P saw 1 billion in outflows over 5 trading days, ending February 18. QQQ experienced 1.9. That's pretty significant. Let's go with SUI. Yeah, SUI is trading at that support at 90 cents. Longs are kind of diverting from the price. You can tell that it's got higher highs and higher lows, whereas the pricing here is still in a structure that is bearish. So this, if it manages to put a new high there, it could be the beginning of the reversal for SUI, or not the reversal of the bottom of the bear market, the beginning of one reversal, right? In the bear market, there can be bear rallies, and it's impossible really to tell at the early stages of the bear market which one is going to be the one that survives into the bull cycle. That's kind of the $1 million question always. So we've been for now 3 weeks speculating of this move from 90 cents into 135. We got lower lows on the other side, incoming at 30. So that is not that great. I don't like seeing, the price going stuck there at support and the other side breaking down here and putting a new low. So we got something bearish in here. We got something bullish promising. But whatever you're doing, if you're trading fresh, consider that 90 cents might be lost and we might need to go for a new low. Some exposure at support is okay to get that exposure into the 135 move, the revenge rally, but there is also that downside potential of 30% additional. That upside is a 50, so it's a 50 against a 30 if you need to average down, or if you need to get stopped out and enter with bigger liquidity. It's kind of equivalent at this point. Socials are starting to move up, and I don't like that. Why is it attracting people now, SUI? What's going on with SUI? Let's have a very quick look. Anything? Grayscale launches SUI staking a ETF on New York Stock Exchange. That was a day ago. SUI dips 6% despite Grayscale. SUI eyes $2. Yeah, that's just bullshit. Yeah, let's look into the technicals. I think there is some socials going on in there because people are getting excited about Grayscale, but still this is trading like if it threatening to lose that level. So small exposure. Don't trade Grayscale listing crap in bear market. That's absolutely irrelevant in a bear market. I mean, tell me how many examples of those listing things during the bear market lead to anything. It's just pump and dump during the bear market. During the bull cycle, it can live for a little bit longer, but still you enter in a bear market, and if you didn't sell, you are an idiot, because, I mean, show me one coin that you should have held, and then we start talking. Right, so that is SUI. We're gonna do SEI, and I'm not from Paul Barron's show. Jupiter, he wants still Jupiter. Let's go with, say, on Binance. Wow, look what a shit show here. So wave 1, 2, 3 of distribution, 27 lowest RSI, this price discovery, but to the downside. And you can tell that I show you other coin where we have this week in October and another one somewhere else, and then price still was threatening to go those levels. You got plenty of examples from other coins that are already there, and you can use that as some sort of schedule or path that you're gonna probably repeat with other coins. Many people look at those things and then it ends up playing in a similar way. Look at how we approach the week of October 10th in 2025. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, approaching that. So that could be a way that many coins are going to end up trading around there. It will be interesting to see if SEI survives this. It has already taken the low. That is also interesting. Remember, I said there is an opportunity to trade that liquidity that sits right under there. Those are the extremely lucky bastards that were on Binance that did not get liquidated, because pretty much everybody got liquidated. It's 20 billion liquidation, and it affected everybody on Binance. And this move there shows you that it captured that lucky bastard that did not get liquidated, but now he got liquidated, or new positions possibly. And still price is threatening to put new lows from there. There's no clear signs of strength so far. We're still in the wave down, taking previous lows. And RSI putting just a new low. There's not even a move up from there. There's nothing really to grab on from to say, here is the reversal. I mean, I wish I could say that and at least give you the hopium so you can consume it, but I don't have it. Let's just see what liquidity we have in the past 3 months. 11 and 14. 11 and 14. So that might mean a rally from that level there, 116%. Definitely not worth if you are fresh, but there can be a move there, kind of as a hopium. That was previous support, previous resistance. So this resistance is again at 15. So a move there could be the case. This is point of control is probably in the middle at 22 cents. And this is definitely the resistance to go back into bull mode for say. Where I'm betting that we're gonna find a new range somewhere in here at some point, either right now or after having some relief rally into here, taking some liquidity at 11 or 14, then getting rejected, and then discovering that say can also trade at a lower low. Let's go with the next one, which is Helium, HNT. Thanks so much, guys. Keep the chat busy. I'm not gonna complain. And conveniently, you are seeing in here what I mean. Helium is doing more or less what I'm expecting to see with the previous coin. We got the point of control around there. We lost that level. That was support. And we came into that level. I think I left this last week. And we reclaimed the 118. That was bullish with a decent green candle. And that called for a move back of liquidation of those levels. Now we have no clue if this is it, if this is actually going to reverse, but this is, this looks bullish. And this looks, it looks bullish, but it's so early in the bear market to do this. So that is kind of my pinch of salt on this theory, because you can tell that there's been all of this drama. It's defending this line of 34. It reclaimed with a liquidity hunt at 34, and it broke out at 40, and it followed through into 43. So this, if we were in October this year, I will be like, oh my God, I'm so lucky to be holding this, because we are now heading into a bull market. But we are still in the depths of the bear market. So what is this going to do next? Who the hell knows? Because if Bitcoin goes into 44, my bet will be that this is not going to survive and it's going to turn into another fake out. By the way, there's been already fake out, right? This broke out there, moved. So twice we moved the line, and this is the third move up. The question is this also going to fake out? I don't know. There is another level in here which we could go slightly higher, which is the 216. That was support for so long. We've been trading there already. We took that liquidity. There's a slim chance to go to 2-1 straight away. I think we are in due time for some pullback, at least on the daily. Yeah, we are already seeing that red candle reversing that thing. So maybe it's the pullback. On the daily, that's the breakout. We need to defend. How far is the support? Yeah, support comes very close. It's probably at 130 130, 135, the support, which we should be defending. So if we want to continue with that coin. Right, let's go with the next one, Monad. If I cannot find it, guys, remember, put if it's crypto or not. Well, I found it on crypto. I'm going to do it on crypto. Remember to put if it's crypto, if it's a stock, if it's an ETF, or put the full name of it. Anything that helps me finding it. Monad is still far away from support. Support is very painful to reach from the top 65 all the way to 45, 20 points down to find support. Where is that? That is in the price. Let's hide this one. Ooh, really? 45. Let's do it more accurate. 45, 45. Not much of a difference. But if we really reach that full support, that comes back into this area of confluence, which is the horizontal support and the downward sloping support. Yeah, right there at around that point of control is basically where we seem to be gravitating to on the RSI. But it's been so significant that maybe there is a move up before landing there. There hasn't been any move up since then. Like a move like that around here that will push the price up, and it will push away that line and then back. So that target might change because it's a moving target. At the moment, in a straight line, it might meet around here. But if we get that revenge against 23, then this line comes away and then it might be lower. That's what I'm trying to say. Resistance. Let's put the resistance right there at 24. We got the support that we already broke down, 21. And the next area, major support, is 17. So not much I can say about that. You could track this on the weekly and on the daily. I guess it's going to have to be on the daily. Let me... we're already on the daily. Yeah, how does it look on the weekly? Well, there's nothing. Let's drop it to the 4 hour. I need more detail to time this. So on the 4 hour, this seems to be already breaking out there and retesting on the 4 hour. If it holds 20 cents, it might reverse a little bit to the upside from there. If it breaks, it might get attracted to the 18, where is the point of control of this trading range. And then we fulfill that prophecy, that forecast of going into the confluence of those two lines I was showing you, the 17. Right, next coin, Jupiter. And let's do weekly. So this is also moving down into the liquidation, but slowing down in here. Why is it slowing down at 16? Let's see the daily. There's no reference of anything going on there to stop. It just decided to stop for no reason. On the daily, the week is at 63 and we are at 139. Any breakout, any sign of strength on the momentum on the weekly? I suspect not. We are against weekly resistance. On the daily, we broke out, but we are in a consolidation phase that is pretty painful there. Let me show you like that on the daily. So if this follow through, it could have another way up into 77. Let me see where is that in the price. That's a move into 30 cents. 30 cents is the previous support. So again, we are talking about a potential move as a revenge rally from the level that we just lost on the daily, which takes you into there. And the RSI says that that is within reach, but obviously you need the right state of the market to move up. I definitely don't like the price action. Is really in a very structure and putting new lows, and every time testing the previous lows and then getting rejected. So I would like to see some signs that this is reverting somewhere. Momentum says something, but it broke out and then it lost the support and now it's trading below that support. So this is ugly, just ugly price action, not really tradable. Let's go to INA. This is even worse because it already took the 10th of October. You can tell that that was price at 13, and now we have that as a resistance. And no signs of strength, just pure bloodbath. On the RSI, there was this internal breakout, no follow through against resistance, just new lows. Everything is just, many coins are just in puke mode. There's still some longs in here at 25. Socials are very low. If we were to have some move up, where if we first need to reclaim that 13 that was that week, and then we can potentially look into a move into 20 cents, which is the support there. Yeah, that's it. Let me go. Let's do near. Oh. What's up with near? Lowest levels of longs. Near was doing a little bit better because it was holding the 1.8. Now it's not holding the $1. Is sending a signal on volatility right there at this price. I'm not so sure I placed properly the support. Why did I put it like that? I think support is this, because I need to take in consideration the $1 is a psychological level and there is this pinch there. If I put it at $1, then right now we are doing what we are doing with many coins. You pick the support that you are currently facing and you do the same as Bitcoin is doing to 67, which is testing that. Although I clarified today that 67 is not a level of support and resistance, it's a point of control. So you trade around 67, and if you lose that trading range as a whole, you look for a new trading range to the lower end. And in here, you have that $1, and we are challenging that. We have a delta signal that is triggering on the weekly. We also have it triggering on the daily around this trading range, and volatility also peaking on the lower end. Last time the volatility peak was here. It had a move up on the bull cycle. Those also led to moves up. In the bear cycle, those P signals are a little bit deflated, like this one trigger at 1.7, but then you still move into 1.4 before moving into 1.8. Pretty bad, because everybody's just dumping. That level of 1.8, unfortunately, has already been retested. So if I tell you that from support of $1, you can go back into 1.8, relative to other coin that has not done that yet, you need to consider it as, well, they took that liquidity already. They went already back there to take the excessive shorts. So can we really go back there? Less likely, but if it happens, that will be extremely bullish, because it will say, why they bother coming back here when you already took that liquidity? That means that they probably have an eye on something else. Who knows? And if you land there back at 1.8, you have an inverse, you have a cup and handle that can take you easily into $3. That will be quite bullish, actually, particularly reclaiming $2. The actual support is 1.88, but $2 is the psychological number that people are going to say, we were at 1, we just rallied into 2, and we form this bullish pattern, we might as well go into $3 and go back to this trading range there. What else can I say about this? Yeah, notice that in October it reached 1.5 and we are already at $1. So this has accelerated doing that. And any other coin, I think it was Algo, and this is gonna be the last one, guys. I'm exhausted. 89 cents, the low of October, 10 cents taken as well. Retested the 10 cents, and are we forming a double bottom here? Well, we're 3 times there at 88 cents support. And on the weekly, we might have a breakout. No, not yet. Not yet, but we are twice at an RSI of 30, but possibly not getting bullish divergence because it's lower now if it closes at 29. And again, challenging that support identified previously of 86. It looks really bearish, ugly. Revenge rally where it can go to the 10 cents, possibly. Maybe again, but we already went there. So maybe we first need to lose the 87 and then come back with bigger strength. Let's put Algo here. I'm curious if there is liquidity below since we've been already there. And if it's too big, 15 cents is extremely heavy. 15 cents on Algo. And that is around here. Yeah, so maybe dipping your toe at support there, and then if we lose it, have some cash prepared for lower lows, but still that 15 cents is not that far away to reach it in a revenge rally, and that's a 64% from where we are. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. If you do, hit the like and write down a comment in the video. I know you guys are live, you already are writing comments, but I'm saying for the rest of the people, thanks so much for being part of this. And next week, remember, on a Thursday midday, we're gonna do the same thing again. If you wanna be part of the elite and secure your assets, which is what most people are doing, you can join. My Patreon link is in the description. Join as an elite. Obviously, those are the ones that get the perk to decide what is primarily covered in the stream. If this or any future videos I put out gets more than 400 likes, you are more than welcome to write down a comment there. Hey, you promised to put a link to get Elite 1 year for free, and I promise I will do it. Eventually, once we get to 400, that threshold might be 500 eventually. If there's more views, I reserve the right to adjust that as we grow in the channel, obviously. But, you get my promise that we can always give those gifts away. I'll see you next week. Have a great rest of the day. And trade safely. Bye-bye.